good to see you, Mrs. Tim, again. And today we get to have my good friend, Professor Smarty Pants, here with us. And he's very excited to teach all of you a little bit about what he researches and studies in his job. He is a neuroscientist, and a neuroscientist learns about the brain. And today he's going to try to teach us about the connection between things going on inside of our brains and our feelings. It's pretty interesting stuff, and I know he's excited to share with you all. Would you like to hear from Professor Smarty Pants? All right, Professor, take it away.
Greetings, pupils. Indeed, it is nice to be here with you today. Pupil is a fancy word for student, and I appreciate fancy language. Well, as Mrs. Tim told you, I am a neuroscientist, and I study all about the brain. We each have a brain. It's very important for all of our bodily functions, but today we are going to speak about the role of the brain with your feelings and emotions. Indeed, all emotions originate in the brain. And today, I will be presenting to you a great deal of information about how knowing what is going on in your brain can help you regulate or control your emotions. Hold on to your hats, people. There's lots to learn, and I hope you enjoy it.
Well, today, Professor Smarty Pants and I are going to talk about flipping a lid, at least that's what I call it, flipping a lid, and about how your brain and your feelings are connected. Your brain is incredible. It helps you to smell and talk and decide and feel and taste it. It does everything. I mean, it is really an important part of your body. But sometimes our brains can cause us some problems too. Have you ever gotten so mad or so worried that it's like you stopped being able to think or even remember anything at all? Well, this is what I call flipping your lid. Flipping your lid is when your brain is so stressed out that it makes you act without thinking first. If you're in danger, acting quickly without thinking can actually keep you safe. But the trouble comes when you're not in danger, that acting without thinking can get you into even more trouble or make you even more upset. Well, there are three very important parts of your brain involved in feelings and thinking. And even though Professor Smarty Pants is going to tell us the fancy names for all of these things, I've also given them fun animals to help us remember as well. So let's start. First, we're going to use our fist as a little model for our brain. So if you would tuck your thumb inside across the palm of your hand and then close your fingers over the top, we're going to use that as kind of a model of your brain as we talk about where these different parts of the brain are located. First, meet the wise owl. His name is PFC, and he is the part of your brain that helps you do smart decision making. And it's the part of your brain that helps you think before you act, helps you plan, helps you decide and weigh the options. His name, the wise owl, is PFC.
Excuse me, Mrs. Tim, I believe his real name is the prefrontal cortex.
That's true. PFC does stand for prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex is absolutely the source of executive functioning skills and good decision making.
Thank you, Professor Smarty Pants. Let's just imagine that someone in your class was making fun of you at lunch and you decided it just wasn't worth getting upset about, and you just kept on eating. Well, that was your wise owl, the PFC, that helped you make that decision. Now, if you look at your fist for the model, the PFC, the portion of your brain, as Professor Smarty Pants would tell you,
the prefrontal cortex,
on our model is like the knuckles or the fronts of your fingers right there. And where that would line up on your own body is right behind your forehead. That is where the prefrontal cortex, or the PFC, the wise owl, is located. When your Wise Owl PFC is in control, your body and your brain feel safe and relaxed, and you're calm and you're ready to learn. So, when's a time where your Wise Owl helped you make a smart choice?
Well, my prefrontal cortex helps me make all sorts of good decisions and plan my time and lead me as I decide what it is I'm going to study.
Very good. Now I'd like you to meet the hippocampus. He is the memory saver of your brain. He saves new memories and he brings out old memories, and he can also help you to learn. Now I know you might be wondering, why in the world do we have a picture of an elephant if it's called the hippocampus?
Well, that is simple, Mrs. Tim, because everyone knows that an elephant does not ever forget. So it makes sense that the hippocampus be animated into an elephant to remind us that that is where our memories are saved.
Exactly. So now pretend like you're listening to your teacher describe an assignment, and when it's time to actually do it, you do everything she said completely and correctly and in the right order. Well, thank goodness for your memory saver, the hippocampus, because that's the only way you could make that happen. Now, if you go back to your hand model and you lift up your fingers, where your palm is, that is actually where the memory saver or hippocampus in your brain would be located. So what do you want your memory saver to help you remember? There's all sorts of things. I like mine to help me remember phone numbers and grocery lists and all of my students' names. I'm sure you can come up with lots of things as well. And lastly, I would like you to meet the guard dog of your brain. This is the part of your brain where you feel your emotions or your feelings, and his biggest focus is on keeping you safe.
The name of the guard dog is amygdala. The amygdala is a small portion of the brain, but very, very powerful. Because it is focused on safety, it can take over to keep you safe.
If you look again at your hand and you open up those fingers and you see your thumb inside there, well, your thumb is the model of the guard dog, the amygdala. Our amygdala helps keep us safe by making us act fast in situations like if your hand just touched a hot pan, the amygdala just takes over and your hand gets yanked away. You don't have to think about it and stand there and think, oh, that seems hot. I should probably move well, by then you've burned your hand. Also, if a monster was walking in your path, you would just run. The amygdala would take over. Or if a basketball or foul ball comes toward you, you would just knock that out of the way. That would be your amygdala taking control to keep you safe. But the amygdala can really only do 3 things in your body. If it senses danger, it tells your body to either fight, flight, and that does not mean fly, it means to run away, or freeze. Those are kind of the powers of the amygdala. Fight means like to have the energy to fight someone, but it can also mean yelling or using mean words or blaming other people or stomping your feet. Flight means running away or trying to escape. Could mean leaving an area or leaving a room. And freeze is when you're just kind of shut down, and it might mean that your body's frozen and you can't move, or it could mean that your brain is just not able to understand what's going on right then. So when your guard dog, the amygdala, is in control, usually your body feels tight and hot, and sometimes your mind feels uncomfortable or upset. But if you're walking across the street and you notice a car start driving quickly toward you, well, you need your amygdala to take over so that you can get to the other side. And thank goodness our brains work that way because it keeps us safe. So when would you need your guard dog, the amygdala, to keep you safe? You can talk about that. But what does a guard dog do when it senses danger? Well, it barks, right? And if an owl hears loud barking, it definitely flies away. And what happens to our memory saver if there's really loud barking? It can't even hear or do its job. And so when the amygdala guard dog takes over, it is more powerful than both the PFC Wise Owl and the hippocampus memory saver put together. Remember when we talked about flipping your lid? Well, this is it. When that happens, your guard dog is in control. And remember what the guard dog does: fight, flight, or freeze. And that's all great, except if your guard dog starts barking when you're not in real danger. What if you're just upset or stressed or mad or worried? What if you flip a lid when you're actually safe? Just imagine you're trying to leave for school, but you can't find your backpack, and you're starting to get stressed about being late, and you can't remember where you last saw it, and you start shouting at your little brother. Well, that is flipping your lid. Or what if you're taking a test and the first question's super hard and you know your mom's expecting you to get an A, but you don't think that's going to happen, and then all of a sudden your brain goes blank and you can't remember anything? Just flipped your lid. Or imagine you got called to the principal's office and you panicked and you tried to hide under the desk. That too is flipping your lid. When is a time when you flipped your lid? When your guard dog, amygdala, made you fight, escape, or freeze when you really weren't in any kind of danger? Can you think of a time? What can we do if we flip our lids? Because we all do. What do we do to get our wise owl back in control? Well, first things first, take some slow, deep breaths. It might also help to tell someone else how you feel. It might help to try to pay attention to what you see around you, what you can hear, what you can taste and smell. That's called a grounding technique, where we use our 5 senses to try to get our amygdala to calm down so that we can start making good decisions again. Or talk to yourself and remind your wise owl that this is just your guard dog talking and you're not in any kind of danger, and that you have the power to calm yourself down. When have you calmed yourself down and gotten your lid down? Well, we've talked about, and we're going to continue to talk about, big feelings and when feelings get really big. And the next time that we talk, we're going to talk to my friend Barry about ways that help him and might help you to calm yourself down when you have flipped your lid. Thanks for listening. And Professor Smarty Pants, thank you so much for sharing about our brains.
It is indeed a pleasure. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Sayonara.